So it's about time we got around to redesigning Ladybug's super team. I've already redesigned quite a few of them already, so this video is really just tending to the rest of them, which I haven't gotten to yet. Which is still a lot now that I look at the list. I'm just now realizing the sheer amount of heroes this show has. But we'll be redesigning the last of the girls and do the boys in part 2. So let's just start with the first design and not waste any time. We're starting this off with Pigella, and going to mention it now, I don't know how I feel about her name. At first I thought it was silly and stupid sounding, but now I'm not sure if it sounds fine or just really plain weird. I'm keeping it in the rewrite for now just because it isn't that bad. I've seen much worse. But if you have a better name, please drop it in the comments and I'll probably use it. But taking a look at our seasons 1 through 5 original design, do I even need to say it? I feel like words don't even need to be said here. I know they wrote Rose to act like a child or whatever, and if that's what they were going for, they nailed it point blank in the head. Clearly this is the first time ever somebody over there designed a superhero, but doing these videos is my first time as well. It's really not that hard. Why are we going for a ballerina theme here anyways? She's the pig superhero, and unless you count her being pink, which I don't that much, there's nothing pig going on here. The only thing that might be pig related is the swirly thing on her chest, which might resemble a pig's tail, but it always looked more like a candy to me. I actually love her new design, and not just because it means we won't have to look at the 5-year-old Fairy Princess Halloween costume anymore, but because it actually looks good while still maintaining that fun, girly look I think the original was trying to do. With mine, I obviously went with a pig theme, but I also decided to mainly opt for a magical girl aesthetic. I think the decision is pretty obvious. The theme matches Rose to a T, and gives the super team as a whole a lot of diversity in terms of designs. Starting with her hair, I gave her this unique set of twin buns that are tied in a way to make them look like pig ears. And I'm not gonna lie, I am really proud of myself for coming up with this all on my own, just like a big girl. For the outfit, I made sure to make it very girly, very fun, while trying to stay in line with her canon looks. In season 6, the pink thing on her top looks a bit like a corset, and at first I was thinking about making it an actual corset, but ended up going with a sleeveless top that mimics the original pattern, but in a more heart-shaped way to reinforce that magical girl theme. To make her top half feel a little less naked, I gave her a cool looking shoulder cape, probably one of the few closest things to an actual cape my superheroes will get, but maybe that's for the best.
No capes!
I feel like the belt ribbon thing her season 6 design is wearing is doing a bit too much, or is just doing it a little too wrong. Like her name, I can't tell how I feel about whatever this thing is called. I can't tell if it's too much or what. Something just doesn't feel right with it. But I still did something very similar with mine. Magical girl costumes always have a lot of unnecessary details to them, so I knew I had to keep some version of this. I wanted to keep it relatively out of the way while she fights, while still having it visible and pretty. Since I didn't add a skirt to my girl, I gave her some veils under a bow with a pigtail shaped ribbon. I only have one ribbon because even though I can't quite place what I don't like about the original's belt thingy, I do know that I don't like how it has 2 swirly ribbons because pigs don't usually have 2 tails, and it feels like it adds a bit too much. I continued the design, and if you know me, you know that for each of my heroes I have to add at least one design or pattern that is present throughout the whole design, and Rose's was hearts, which I don't think is in anybody else's. Lastly, I updated her weapon to make it pig-shaped and so she can throw it and it'll act like a boomerang and come back to her. I know her power is on the more emotional side, but she still needs something to defend herself and other people with. I think it came out really cute and should be a lot more useful to her. I really think these designs are getting better and better as the series goes on. But for Rose, or Pigella here, I'm all done. And since I've already talked about the changes to her and the other characters in this rewrite in another video titled Redesigning Marinette's Class, which you should totally check out, we can just go ahead and move on to the next character. Next, we're going to do Bunx, and I already mentioned this in a previous video, but I'm not doing the whole time travel bull hockey like in the show. I know writers think they are always so smart by adding time travel to their stories, but the real good writers know if their story doesn't revolve around time travel, you don't touch it. It's unnecessary, overpowered, and just breaks the whole world. I'm changing a few of the powers of Miraculous, and this is one of them, which will now be Super Speed. I don't have the reference pick up here for some reason, but the original falls into the simple, underwhelming bodysuit category, like most of them, with the only thing of note being the question, why is her weapon an umbrella? I think it might be an Alice in Wonderland thing. I wouldn't know, I haven't read the story. But if it is, it isn't a very clever reference, and if it isn't, it's a pretty useless weapon. I'm beginning to think that whoever in this universe who made these weapons just wanted to see a bunch of people get beaten up. Now, I know I'm steering away from the time travel, but I still wanted it to look like it could fit comfortably in a time travel setting. Cyberpunk isn't a time travel thing, but the two just look very good side by side. So I went with a cyberpunk themed style, all while trying to keep the whole thing light and free moving so that she can jump and run around easily like Rabbit. I don't wanted her to have bare arms and legs, so I gave her removable sleeves and pant legs. I think that's what they're called. I also added a hood with bunny ears because I thought it really went well with her style as a character. Since my Alex and the original one are more alternatively styled, I messed that word up, but I don't care. I wanted to give her a different kind of mask, being one that just covers up one of her eyes. I think it was a good idea in theory, but I'm not too sure about the execution. Before the coloring, I gave her a real weapon, being modern-looking nunchucks, and if you've seen my Redesigning Marinette's Class video, you'll know that Alex has dyed pink hair. But here we get to see her real hair color with some pink highlights referencing her IRL look. For the rest of the coloring, I stuck with a simple white, black, and cyan palette with a few light pink and gold highlights. There isn't too much to say on this design now, and I think it's okay, but I also do think I could be better. Maybe if I get a better idea later, she'll be added to my redesign video once everybody is done, so if you have an idea on how I could change her, totally tell me.
Fluff clockwise!
Next is Miss Wolf, and oh good they fixed her hair in her superhero form. I don't think I need to explain my relief here, and if I do, you clearly haven't been around Season 6 that much. Let's get her first canon design out of the way. It looks like puke. They picked the nastiest shade of brown, and the texture they put on top of it makes it look like absolutely filthy. And even with the hat, which I do think is really cute, I'm just not getting dog from the dog-themed superhero. Now her new canon design, on the other hand, loving it. The coloring, the shape, the hat. The only real complaint I have is that I'm still not getting as much dog as I would have liked, so let's move on to my own and fix it. Now, this was a design I struggled with. I came into this pretty much blind and not knowing how in the world it would end up looking like. I started looking at the black thing around the chest of the Season 6 design, which I'm just now realizing might be a sly reference to a dog harness, but I might be reaching. From there, I just started drawing and ended up with my own dog harness looking suit. I did end up replicating a lot from the original, but I did make sure to add my own touch, and mostly with just adding details to make people know this was a dog-themed superhero. The clasps on her vest, along with a logo on her chest, and had her bones, and I added a tail. I really don't know why the designers of the show didn't give her a tail. It seems like an obvious detail to add here, but oh well. Like the design, I didn't know what I wanted with the coloring. I knew I didn't want to go with orange like the original, but had no idea on where to start. I really had to think hard for a hot minute on what I wanted, but decided, oh my gosh, I keep messing up my words, to start with some non-puke-inducing browns, and the rest just fell into place. I think what really works here is that all of these colors look like you would see them on an actual dog, and this has probably ended up as one of my favorite designs. I seriously love how this turned out, and I'm actually kind of sad that even in my rewrite, we won't see that much of this one, but I guess you can just see it as a treat when we do get her.
Bark on the hunt!
'For our last superhero of the day, we'll be taking on Multimouse. And I just want to mention real quick that while I was doing this part, I had an issue with my recording software and the coloring gets cut halfway through. But about the original design, I like how they did something a little different with the shape and look, but it still looks very basic and boring. There's just nothing to it, and it feels more like a baseline for a real design. I do really like the detail on her mask that makes her look like she has a little pink mouse nose, and I'm actually really disappointed that they didn't do that for the season 6 design. I thought it was super clever, especially for the season that it's in. The new design is a bit like the old one in terms of simplicity, but this one just works. It feels clean, sleek, and I'm in love with her mouse hair ears. I tried to stay somewhat loyal to the season 6 design with the open jacket and light pink lines, though I did add a mini cape with hood.
No capes!
I gave her hair a lot of attention and tried to somewhat stay with the simple look, and even though I think I failed in that sense, I really like how it turned out. It might just be me, but I think the whole design gives off a bit of a storybook Wonderland vibe, all while staying in its superhero roots. You can't see it, but I made it to where the colors get lighter the farther out from the body it gets, and I think it gives the whole thing a really nice effect that really helps her stand out from the rest of the super crowd. You also can't see it, but there is this little thing in the back of her belt that she can pop her jump rope in and out of to keep in place instead of wrapping it around her waist. Realistically, in the show, doing that would be very inefficient and would probably slow her down. I knew that I had a really good opportunity here to replace her weapon with a whip, but kept the jump rope. I already have 2 characters with whips, maybe more, but I can only think of them 2 at the top of my head right now. And plus, I feel like a jump rope is the best non-weapon weapon that the show has. Like, imagine you're fighting somebody who has a jump rope with them. They start swinging it rapidly above their heads and then suddenly hits you with one of the handles. That sucker would hurt. And I should know, because I have a very, very vague memory of that happening to me. Actually, I think I was the one who accidentally hit myself somehow. And that's all for today. If you watched all my videos, and let's be real, you haven't, LOL, why did I say that? You might be wondering where Zoe is, and I'll just say now that she'll be getting her own video to herself, because for the life of me, I cannot redesign this girl, and only just recently got a good idea for her hero design. But in other news, I already said that I've been working harder to get a more consistent uploading schedule. It won't happen overnight, but trust me, I'll get there one day. But there are still other forms of content that you can consume from me. If you like the idea of a book about humans running around the post-apocalyptic ruins of Earth, all while trying to save others from being taken by aliens who are bent on turning them all into either pets or slaves, then you should check out my work-in-progress book, Stray Humans, over on Wattpad. I plan to publish this book one day and will need all the support I can get my little fingers on. As of writing this, the book has currently 26 chapters posted, with a lot more on the way. There will be a link in the description if you want to check it out, and I encourage you to give it a click. Nothing bad will happen. I promise. But for the rest of this video, that is all that I have today. Have a great day/night, and God bless.